Various technologies being used to manipulate individuals. Welcome, Roger.
Hey, John, it's always great to modulate the waves with you guys.
Well, listen, it's great to have you. First of all, forgive my ignorance, but is that a hard O or a soft O on your name? I want to say it the right way. Is it Tulsis or Tulsis?
Either way. It rolls either way.
Well, I know, but which do you...
Depends on what country you're from.
Okay.
No, it sounds good. Actually, I like the way you say it.
Okay. Golly.
We're good to go.
Well, you're so hard to work with already.
Did I scare you with all these subjects that we're going to talk about?
No, not at all. I'm completely weirded out about this, and so I can set the stage for you to lay it on heavy and thick. Somebody said...
Check this out.
And says, do you live in the world as you describe? Sorry to say it no longer exists. No difference between a BB gun and a 100-round AR-15. Please, who's acting stupid now, John? It's like, I could have said you can't get deader than dead.
Right here don't matter, but just listen.
A .50 Desert Eagle like bullet-tooth Tony had in the movie Snatch, but I didn't say that. I was trying to be sensitive. Now, bleep off. Now, let's talk about all of this. First one, what's your take on this Colorado shooter? Everything about it looks weird to me and millions of other people, it seems.
Yeah, well, I really don't want to be cold-hearted about it because I find it very depressing.
I find it disgusting. I find it absolutely sickening.
Yeah.
And sad.
You can look back at situations like Pearl Harbor where they decided to sacrifice, all those military people and all those ships to get us into war. You have to remember that the people that are attempting to control our minds and control everything really don't care about personal life. They, when they want to get something done, the ends and the means, that nothing stands in the way. So, the first thing I want to say is that I've been very depressed about these innocent people getting killed, but one of the things that I look at on situations like this, and of course I've dealt with thousands of mind-controlled people, so I have some insight into how this can get done, if in fact this guy was a Manchurian candidate. So what you would say is that who stands to gain with this guy walking in and killing innocent civilians, enjoying themselves watching a great new movie?
I don't know, but I have a feeling it has something to do with money.
Well, to me it has more to do with gun control. Because look at the setup on this guy. He was a clean record, walked into all the stores that we know, sports stores that we all go to, at least the people in these areas up here in the Northwest. He passed all the requirements of filling out the forms, gave him the weapons, and he noticed that he ordered the bullets in 1,000 amounts. So the stage is set for, if, as an example, you really want to advance some kind of gun control legislation that's hidden inside something. Generally, these events have something to do with legislation. You look back on the Patriot Act, you can see how the Patriot Act was accelerated. They couldn't get the Patriot Act through until they knocked 2 buildings down in New York, then all of a sudden it was fast-tracked.
Internet, he's going to talk about internet and gun control.
These people read it, and of course, what it's done is basically neutralize a good deal of our civil rights and the rights guaranteed us by the Constitution.
Roger, take just a moment and explain to everybody. Sometimes people know things, but they need to have the words spoken by someone else. Because maybe they don't trust themselves. I don't know.
Okay, well, what is it you want?
Explain to everybody why, whatever your political persuasion is, whatever it is, why is gun control bad for everybody?
Well, I've heard people recently say that back in the Weimar Republic in Germany, had the Nazis not gone door to door and removed the rifles from the hands of the Jewish people that were owning weapons, that the Holocaust never would have taken place. So, our founding fathers put the Second Amendment in place to make sure that the citizens stayed armed and were able to defend themselves from whatever kind of tyranny might be coming down the pike. Keep in mind that the United States citizens are the biggest army in the world. There is no larger army than the amount of weapons in the hands of the United States citizens. So if you have an agenda where you want to take over control of a country, and the country is armed to the hilt like we are, which is what the founding fathers wanted exactly in place, got to get the guns. There's no other way. There's only 600,000 people in the government in and of itself. So when you've got 100, 200 million people that are armed, that's a real problem. So how are you going to go about getting that legislation that's going to allow you to chip away at this citizen army? And to me, when you look at an event like this event in Colorado, you say, well, if that was a staged event, if there was a conspiracy involved, what would be the point? Well, the point would be is to cause such an uproar in the citizenry about these innocent people getting killed that all of a sudden we're going to now have more restrictions relating to the type of weapons and who can own them.
The problem is it's like walking into a recording studio and you look at the console there and actually it's just a bunch of single strips, but they're all next to each other and it just looks like this sea of knobs. It's really just one set of knobs repeated several times for the various channels. And that's sort of what looking at everything that's going on simultaneously is like I'm seeing the whole thing, and it's enough to make you sound like you've been well and truly driven to distraction. You got an ongoing, rolling 9-year Middle Eastern conflict. You combine this with General Stanley McChrystal just the other day said that, we really kind of need mandatory military service. It should either happen after high school or after university. But we need to do this. You know why that is?
Alright, I'm going to stop this right now because it's not exactly talking about the particulars in reference to what he knows concerning how technology is being used to manipulate the mind. That is discussed later in the interview, okay? So what I'm going to do is, it was a 2.5 hour interview. So what I'm going to have to do is filter through the audio file and find the specifics in reference to what he's talking about. And to be totally honest with you, it kind of bummed me out a little bit because he didn't. Now I called Bugsweet.com in November of 2011 over at USD, and I believe that my phone call was rerouted, which is a tactic of organized gang stalking. You go online and Google that. But the point I'm trying to make here is this, is that on this interview that he had on this radio broadcast, he did not discuss as much of the details in reference to the type of technology and the expeditions they're used for that are mentioned in the previous video file that I hoped he would. But he did talk about voice to skull and about how voice to skull is used. Now, if you look at my videos, usually the ones that are titled Learning Disabled Woman Discusses Remote Neural Monitoring. If you take a look at those and synthesize all the information together, you're definitely going to hear me talking about voice to skull. Voice to skull is nothing but the microwave auditory effect. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and then I'm going to filter through this audio file and find the right moments where he talks about the voice to skull and about how it's used and some of the capabilities it's used for. But understand this, he does not talk about how a target's voice can be morphed, which means that they can literally take a target's voice print of their own voice, okay, whether it be including the subvocal speech, and incorporate it within a software program. Then they can have the computer pick out dialogue streams and comments for directional purposes, like suggestions or directional purposes, and then have the microwave auditory effect transmit these directional verbal comments or statements into the target's brain in their own voice print. So the audio cortex receives it, okay? And so the target just believes they're having their own thoughts because they're hearing their own internal language, which is their subvocal speech in their own mind. Do you understand what I'm saying? I strongly, strongly, strongly suggest you look in the comments feature of this YouTube video, and if it doesn't appear today or tomorrow or next, it'll appear within the next week, because I got to get, to be totally honest with you, I got to get going. So I'm gonna while I'm getting dressed, I'm gonna filter through the audio file, and if I can find it right now, I'll go ahead and incorporate it in another video, and then I'll title it, and that YouTube title will be in the comments feature of this one. And if it's not done today or tomorrow, it'll show up. But even if you just look in some of my videos in reference to how I discuss remote neural monitoring and electronic harassment by typing in at YouTube, Learning Disabled Woman Discusses Remote Neural Monitoring, trust me, you'll find it. you will literally be amazed at what you hear. Okay, my name is Leslie Williams. I'm a target of these crimes in San Diego, California, and I'm here today to tell you right now, organized crime has a hold of this technology. Okay, and a lot of the organized crime syndicated members are police officers, and I'm here today to tell you from direct physical experience that I've had with the San Diego police. They are directly involved in this crime, and they will use anything and everything in order to protect their involvement in it. And one of the ways that they discredit targets is to call them mentally ill. That's one of the main methods of organized gang stalking expeditions. I strongly suggest you go to Google and type in organized stalking or gang stalking and corrupt mental health. I gotta go. Make sure you look in the comments feature of this YouTube video. Today's date is July 29, 2012.